Hi, welcome to English 101, special 8-week edition for the spring 2021, totally online. Hi, I'm Andrew Hoffman. I'll be your teacher this semester. This is the syllabus for our course, and I hope that you read through it on your own very carefully. Make sure that you have a copy of it. You don't, of course, have to have it in print, but you might want to download it to your own computer so that you have access to it whenever you need. This is English 101, reading and composition, although nobody ever calls it that. It's really just freshman comp, if you ever hear anybody talk about it. This is our spring semester. Now, first of all, how do you get a hold of me? Well, especially with the online environment, obviously email, very important. There's my district email account. I do have office hours. Now, these are conducted on Zoom, and I use this same personal ID number all the time. So when you want to talk to me, I'll be in my office hours on Zoom Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 to 12 noon, unless otherwise notified. You do not have a separate Zoom invitation for every single day. We have one invitation for every day, and it uses this personal ID number. Okay, so there is an announcement on Canvas that also includes this information with a link which might make your life easier. Now, the required text for the course, there's just one. It's called Monsters. It's in the second edition. And it is basically what we call a reader, meaning it has essays, articles, excerpts from novels, epic poems, things of that nature. And we talk about it. And that, of course, is the main thrust of the subject matter for us. It gives us something to talk about that I believe is actually very relevant. People say, why am I writing about monsters? They're make-believe. Seriously, have you looked at the newspaper? No, monsters are all around us. The recommended text is the MLA Handbook, 8th edition. Now, actually, I do not recommend purchasing the MLA Handbook in the 8th edition. As it has recently gone to the 9th. I actually don't even have the 9th edition myself yet. It just came out, I think, or maybe it's not even out yet. It might be scheduled for an April release. The point, however, is we use MLA as our documentation standard, and this semester will be held to the 8th edition. As I said, there's no need for you to actually purchase the text. The catalog course description is here. This is the same description that is in the catalog. It's very interesting, very, very interesting, and I hope that you read through it very carefully. Here's the most interesting part. I'll just read this last sentence, this part where it says that you're going to write 6,000 graded words, okay? Now, that may sound like a lot, but we break it up into, how we call it, smaller works, smaller parts, right? We're not writing one essay with 6,000 words. Okay. Now, a basic assumption that I make as I teach this course is that each student intends to transfer to a four-year institution. This is, of course, not the case for every one of my students. Many of my students are not going to transfer. They have other career goals, right? They're going to get maybe a CTE certificate or degree that doesn't require them to go to a four-year school. However, let me put it to you this way. This is transfer level English. It transfers to San Diego State. It transfers to Harvard, should you be fortunate enough to get in. And therefore, I teach it with that in mind. And if you're thinking, well, but that's not me. I'm not going to Harvard. Hell, I'm not even going to San Diego State. That's okay. Learning how to write well, read well, think critically, do good research, document that research. These are skills that will help you in all your classes that require writing, okay? No matter what specific your goal that you actually have. Next up are the course learning objectives. There's a Freudian slip. Did you hear me say course learning objectives? Yeah, as you could probably tell by that slip, I'm not really fond of reading through these. We used to never even have these. The deans have to justify their high wages, so one day they decided to make everybody put the course learning objectives in the syllabus. Hurrah. Same thing with the course learning outcomes. After a while, they decided that another thing should be in our syllabus. So I hope that you read these, and if you don't understand them, join the club. But there they are. Seriously, if you do have a question, you can always ask. I will do my best to answer it. But these are basically the ideas of what are you going to be able to do when you get out of this course, right? What do we want you to be able to do? And it's broken down, as you see here, into 5 objectives, and over here, 4 outcomes. Don't ask me what the difference between an outcome and an objective is. I have no freaking idea. Things to keep in mind. Now, here's where we do have to pay some really close attention. First of all, success or failure in school is directly related to participation. If you fail to participate in the classwork, such as discussion threads and assignments, for 1 week or longer, you may be dropped. I will attempt to contact and notify you that you have 5 days to complete the missing work, as long as there is a verifiable medical or legal excuse for non-participation. Otherwise, you will be dropped from the course. Okay, so an online course like this, which is asynchronous, meaning it's not on Zoom, we don't do a remote class, means that you have to find the time in your own schedule to do your own work. It does not mean you can pick and choose what work to do. It does not mean you get to pick and choose when that work is turned in, because we have due dates, and anything after the due date is not acceptable. And if you just simply stop participating, it's like not going to class in the face-to-face environment, okay? And when that happens, you get dropped in the face-to-face environment, and the same thing here online. You're just going to be dropped for lack of participation. Now, there are some key dates. Here we are, number 2. Let's say you get started on this class and you decide for whatever reason, you don't like the class, you suddenly realize you don't need the class, it just isn't working out for you, you have a work schedule problem, you have a personal life issue that's getting in the way, whatever. There could be all kinds of things going on. If you drop the class before April the 15th, okay, you will not receive a W. Or to put it in another way, there will be nothing that shows up on your transcript. It's like our little secret that you were even here. Now, after April the 15th, you must receive some sort of notation for being here, and that notation is a W, and you have up until May the 7th to receive a W. A W is not an F. It is not a 0. It is not in any way reflective of saying you weren't doing well. What it does say is you were here for a while, and then you stopped coming. Again, it could happen for all kinds of reasons that may have nothing to do with performance in the class. Now, after May 7th, you must receive a grade, in other words, an A, B, C, D, or F. So, put this in bold, probably because I thought it was important. You are in charge of your own enrollment status. This includes adding the class by the add deadline, April 15th, or dropping it by the drop deadline, April 15th. If you stop participating in class without dropping the course, you may receive an F for the entire semester. And particularly, in other words, after May the 7th, that doesn't mean all of a sudden you get to stop participating and still get a grade. You will get a grade, it just will be an F. Keep in mind that you must do those 6,000 words, right? That was the one point of the catalog description that I emphasized. And this is because of transfer, right? In other words, we have transfer agreements with places like San Diego State and other many colleges and universities across the state and even the nation. And part of the gig, if you will, is that we say, hey, our students will do this amount of work. And so if you have not done that amount of work, you can't pass the class because you didn't fulfill the 6,000 words. Okay. Now, basically speaking, if you're doing the work, you're going to go way over 6,000 words, so that should not be an issue. Keep in mind that every assignment has a due date. Work not turned in receives an F. That F, by the way, is a 0 F, right? 0, 0, not a 60% F, a 0% F, okay? If you have a verifiable illness or other legitimate reason to be late with work, please contact me. Family vacations and employment conflicts are not legitimate reasons. You need to plan ahead, make sure your family and your boss understand what you're doing, and you need to make it happen. Now, all assignments must have minimum requirements, right? This will be defined on each assignment sheet. If you fail to meet the minimum requirements, you may fail the paper on that basis alone, okay? Now let's talk about grades. Your semester grade will be determined as follows. There are short essays. We have one that'll be 10%, two will be 15%. We have a class participation grade, which is 20% in total. We have discussion threads, which are 20%. And the final 20% is the final paper of the semester. Please remember there are no pluses or minuses for final grades at Mesa. There are no A minuses, there are no B pluses. There's just A's and B's and C's and D's and F's. So you have to get a flat grade. Now, if you have a grade that falls in what I call the gray area between two grades, plus or minus 2%, matters such as improvement over the course of the semester may be used to guide the instructor's determination of the final grade. So if you get like an 89.7, please do not burn up the internet trying to convince me that you should get an A. I will almost certainly give you that A, okay? Leave me alone. Otherwise, right, if it's an 86, don't even talk to me. 87, don't even talk to me. 88 is kind of where it gets fuzzy, right? That's where this is a percentage where it kind of gets, the further out you get away from the number, the more convinced I have to be that you deserve the better grade. Number 8, students with disabilities who may need academic accommodation should discuss options with the professors during the first 2 weeks of class. This is true for every class on campus. Keeping in mind that this is an 8-week class, you should be on top of that as soon as possible. Number 9 is about plagiarism. Plagiarism is an act of academic dishonesty. It is a violation of policy 3100. I list here the various forms of plagiarism, verbatim copying, or you found somebody else's paper, you turned it in, maybe you bought it, somebody wrote it, you put your name on it, whether you paid for it or not, who knows. Paraphrasing without proper acknowledgement, you took somebody else's work and you changed the words around. You did a cut and paste job, that's number 3, or the out and out theft of someone else's significant ideas without proper acknowledgement. Now, I don't expect people to cheat. Right? I'm a very kind of person who believes that people are inherently good, despite my years and years of experience otherwise. Here's the deal. Acknowledgement is key. You see it in all these. Acknowledgement, acknowledgement, acknowledging, acknowledgement. That's what MLA is about. Acknowledging the work that you took from other people. It's not that you can't use other people's work. In fact, you're going to have to. It's called research. You just have to acknowledge it. Now, number 10 is maybe the most important thing about keeping in touch with me, either through the district email. There is a message system for the class on Canvas. Okay, those are 2 ways that you can get a hold of me. Please stay in touch if you have any kind of problems or issues that are going to conflict or create issues of your being able to successfully complete the class. I am not a mind reader. I do not know. Right? You have to communicate. And of course, if you can't meet with me during my office hour time, maybe we can find another time to meet with you on Zoom. I have done that for students in the past. If it's a time when I'm available and you're available, we can set something up. Traditionally, though, of course, it's usually the office hours. Now, here are the due dates. Please make sure that you pay very careful attention to these due dates. They're pretty much set, okay? And flaking, being late, saying, oh, I didn't know, I didn't understand, these are not valid excuses. You're being told here on your syllabus when the essays are due. So mark your calendar, do whatever it is that you do to keep yourself on time and not procrastinating, okay? Because failure to do these works in a timely fashion will almost certainly lead to failure in the class as a whole, all right? Now, this is the first part of the syllabus video. I'm going to make a second video to talk about the second part of the syllabus because I do think all of the syllabus is important.